Hello everybody and welcome back to Wappelville, and we're going to be heading towards the Middle Earth part of Wappelville here. We got Ring Wraith, we got some Rohan Cav. We're just going to try and get caught up. I'm kind of in between some things here, and we're going to work again with the oils. I just thought it might be fun. We've been doing a lot of the Cav from Song Ice and Fire and some other things. I thought, well, let's see if we can't do. So this guy right here, this is already on my YouTube channel. This is another Ring Wraith, and the idea was, I think we used contrast paint, and we were also painting black without using black. And I thought we'd mess around with oils here, kind of do the same sort of thing. So maybe we'll start out with this guy and see how far we get. But you can see, look at that, we got some greenish colors on the horse here, some reds in the shadows, there's some purples in there, teals, all kinds of different stuff. The oil paints in question. Now these are the ones that I've mixed myself, and it's fairly simple. We're taking either Winsor Newton, these are your student grade Wintons, or just the regular straight up Winsor Newton paints. We mix them with some of our thinner here. This is a high quality thinner. It is roughly 50-50. It is not exactly 50-50. It can be a lot more, it can be a lot less. And then another thing, you hear that sound. I think we all have pieces of metal sprue laying around, and that's the other thing I like to chuck in here just to make sure that it stays agitated. Almost every paint container these days seems to have an agitator in it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to throw those out onto the palette over here, and the palette is also really simple. It's a piece of parchment paper, and we took some glue stick and put a little glue on there, and we just attached it to this piece of cardboard. Is it absorbent? Yeah, I would say it's a little bit maybe more absorbent than just the regular palette that I might use, the paper palettes. It's not like a paper towel, so it's not going to soak up all the oil. That's not necessarily what we're after here. And we're just going to throw out, let's see, we got Payne's Gray. That just went over there. This is going to be our olive green. That's going to go over here. We'll keep this very simple. And I think, we're going to throw some indigo down here. This is a fantastic, rich, dark color. Oh, look at this. We have a Deck Knight. And speaking of that, look at that. Look at who's a fan of Mordor. Who knows what they like. Yes, indeed. The great eye that watches every Twitch session. Loyal. Yeah, this is our raw umber here. Let's swing across the top. Let's hit up a little yellow ochre. We got kiwis in the house. Hey, an Anthro, how are you doing? Yeah, this normally would be starting at, say, I don't know, 2-ish, but reasons, I'll show you why. This was a wee bit later in starting here, and oh my goodness, it was because of yesterday. So obviously this weekend they're doing that virtual Gen Con thing, right? And I was asked to do the Aces of Painting speed painting competition. And wait till you see what I had to paint in, well, basically about 65 minutes. Well, I hope that this is entertaining here. It's just trying to get caught up on some of my Lord of the Rings stuff here. So this is one of my favorites here, the brown. Yep, let's go over here with this brown matter. We don't need a ton of it. That's about enough. Let's throw out some of our cerulean blue. And kiwis, let's say, I got to watch the tanks. Then there's going to be much more of that on the way because, well, I have tons of tanks already prepped. But I've been messaging back and forth with Trenchworks, and they may or may not have a bunch of new tank designs that they are potentially going to be sending this way to maybe be painting on some streams. So there could be more tank fests. This could be like Bovington Tank Museum USA over here pretty soon, which should be really fun. So again, here's those just little chunks of metal sprue. That's what I throw inside those containers, and it really does a good job as far as keeping that paint from just kind of getting all nasty and stuff in the container. Nothing like that has happened, that's for sure. So again, let's bring up what it is we're going to mess with here. So this is one of the old style metal ring wraiths right here. And is it the same? No, it's not quite the same. Oh well. In any case, what we're going to do is slap some paint around here. Now let's move some of, oh, well, here's some of the other. These were done, what, back in April? Hey, look at this. We got beef. We got some beef here. And we have someone who's insanely handsome. Yes, how are you doing? Welcome back in. Now, I'll show you some pictures of this was one of my army painting series here on the Morgul Knights. We've got our, well, thinner / white spirits. I like to just kind of refer to it as thinner because I do think it actually is different than the white spirits. I'm going to maybe turn down the brightness a bit. Look at this. We got Footsore North America. Oh, and they now carry Green Stuff World products. So remember, now this is the YouTube video, right, that just went up earlier, I think it was last night or something like that. So the Green Stuff World liquid pigments that I did on that, now you should be able to get those from Footsore North America. And speaking of Lord of the Rings, so here, let's get that in shadow. Speak, friend, and enter. Since it's not a bazillion degrees here today, you can see I got the rings on the roller. And here's the Elven roller. So this is from Green Stuff World. Hey, Marty. Now let's see. I think, did you get the message that I sent? Let's see, if you joined earlier today, I know I sent a message with a bunch of Army Painter links, but it is much appreciated. So this one, it's for the Lumineth. Yeah, because look at this, you even have the whole Minotaur type thing, but it's kind of like they captured all the different elfy things. So this, I think, would be pretty good also for some Lord of the Rings, some Rivendell type stuff right here, especially the center. And even, I think there's another little tree. Yeah, there's this tree down here, so that could actually be good. Oh yeah, I gotta send the list for the Goths so that they can be the Huskarls for the, oh, what is that? For the Dunlendings. Yes, Dunlending Huskarls. Well, and Rohan Royal Guard. Yeah, because I've been trying to convert some of these guys into Royal Guard, but some of the figures that you can get now on Footsore, they make actually really good, potentially, Royal Guard for Rohan. So what the Yesic in the house? Oh yeah, this is going to be kind of a little quick Lord of the Ring stream here. Let's see. Okay. Well, after this, I will send you. So just wait for a message from me, and we'll have all of your links in there. And it kind of starts with the Army Painter links, then it gets into the Dark Sword, and then it gets into kind of your general techniques. And then the last list, yeah, there's like 4 lists in there. Then the last list is going to be the old style painting pyramid videos. So you can see what we got going here. We got a couple of little glazing type colors that we're going to access. You know what? Even a little brown into that. And we're going to get this thing started here, just because I'd already done this once before and obviously didn't get to continue with the rest of the painting on it, so I'm looking forward to doing that now. There's a little bit of that indigo, can make it even darker here, and the idea is just get this paint out on here as quick as you can. All this is, think of it as prepping the surface for the actual paint that is yet to come. And we got Mel in the house, and Landrast, and Al Capone. Well, let's see, they're taking the pipeweed to Isengard. Somehow that found its way there. There was all kinds of goodies that found their way to Isengard, it seems. Lots of goodies. Alright, I think we've just about got that good. Now, where's some of our makeup sponges here? Like so. I'm going to cut these into some smaller bits. Like so. Let's see, I've been going through the post pages. Yeah, there's a...
So say we all! So say we all!
Well, look at this. Megan's gonna get a Wappelius dance. Yes, look at, he is gonna catch that. He's gonna catch that. So Marty, there's actually it's good because I've got some of the other Lord of the Rings figures up here. I just realized how many Lord of the Rings painting series that I have. Look at what this does. See, it just kind of enhances some of the primer, which is just your basic Badger Steino Res. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Look at what that does. And we're going to do the same thing to this guy. So look at that. It gives it some color. There's some green, there's some blue, a hint of color already before we've even started. So check this out. Now, yesterday, because this is Virtual Gen Con, as part of the Aces of Painting competition, we had basically 65 minutes while being harassed to paint a figure. Now, most people were painting something about, this size. Here's what I was painting in 65 minutes. So there's your Thanos plus this plus this. So all of this stuff in 65 minutes, again, while being basically interviewed and harassed. And let's look at how big this is. So that's just how big he is. All three of those things, 65 minutes. Oh, you bet it was oils. You bet it was oils. I mean, look at all the fun blending that we were able to get into here. And I was doing some glazing right here. Yep, wet oils over wet oils, doing some glazing. It's just, you can't beat it. Doing something like this, even able to take the sponge here and sponging on some of the oils just to, get some different textures on there. Kiwi, it's just, there is no shortage of amazement for me. What the oils can let you do, it never ceases to amaze me. Every time I think, well, okay, maybe this you can't do with the oil. No, you can do it. You can do it. So let's hit this guy right here. I'm tempted to give him. I gotta start giving these guys red shields here, because if they're going to be part of Erkenbrand and friends, they need their red shield. Oh, look at this! We welcome in Angryham in the house. It was funny because some of the other people, they're just painting quite literally the single, well, I guess it's more like a 32 millimeter scale, would you say, for Marvel Crisis Protocol, somewhere in that neighborhood? Yeah, I think it's probably somewhere in that neighborhood. We're doing the exact same thing we did on a Ring Wraith. You're just getting this with a wee bit of, what we're just calling this, we're just calling this the, well, there's a part of me that wants to call it preparation glaze. I think you understand the reason why my silly self wants to call it preparation glaze. But we've been calling it, I think we've been calling it like an initial glaze or something. But I like preparation glaze. I kind of like that. I may have to stick with that. That might just have to be a thing, a preparation glaze. It stops the itching and the burning. That's for sure. And I think we've got that all well and good. Let's start hitting it with some of our makeup sponge action. Finally, the 6-day work week is over for Angryham. And Al Capone says, the Usain Bolt of speed painting home by years of experience and no sleep, really. Just never sleep. You'll be surprised at what you can do. Oh my goodness. that was even surprising me that it worked out quite that fast. Now I was using some of the, what would you say, some of the newer things that I've learned with the oils, where instead of it's almost like what, that movie 1984 where the guy is talking about how they're getting rid of words in the English language, like 10, 15, 100 words a week or something like that. They're taking out more and more words. I just keep taking out more and more steps with the oils, and it's making them go faster and dry faster too. Oh yeah, that's for sure. So let's compare him now to one of his buddies. So already you see a nice little difference as we got Asmodee in the house. That's the thing now. Preparation glaze. Oh, I like prep glaze. I like prep glaze. Let's see, another quality I've noticed: hard to keep up with your sleep schedule or lack thereof. Yes, what is that? Sleep is for the dead. Sleep is an urban legend. Sleep is just pure mythology. Yeah, just pure mythology. So here's our latest batch of horsies here. And this is the one that we tried, the indigo. That was very fun. And this is the one we were trying out, our cadmium orange, for the first time. So that was pretty nifty. That was fun. And this guy, very different approach to him than this guy from back in May. So this one took less time to dry. I was able to get more blends, more color. They kind of look very similar, but this one it was way easier. Every time I do these things, there's just some kind of new, what would you say? Some new thing. Certainly now, this one back in April definitely was much more difficult for me than those other two. And it's what can I say? But now we got to get into some of our black. And again, we want to have some of all these fun and different colors on here. Oh, let's try here. There's a little bit of burnt umber here.
So say we all. So say we all.
Oh, Felonious Monk in the house. And no, if that is the correct pronunciation, let me know. Thank you so much for the subscription. It's appreciated. And again, if I ever blow on a name or something like that and don't pronounce it correctly, just let me know. We got Nessie in the house. So there's the Wappelius dance. He's like, there's something coming down here. I know at some point, maybe it's just in here. But thank you so much for that, because that is going to, actually now this is the latest thing. I've got to get some more of these, because as we've been learning lately, these brushes, which just are not terribly great for acrylics, they love oil paints. They absolutely love oil paints, which is hilarious, I think. I mean, the number 8 rounds, they love everything, and everything loves them because, well, they are the one true brush. And remember, what does the one true brush? Do not put other sable brushes before me. And we're not. Look at what we're working with. So, Nessie, there was a couple of Book of Wappelisms in the last few streams, and I've got to somehow find those, because there was some good ones. Oh, there was some quality Book of Wappel material in the last couple of live streams. I've somehow got to find those. Oh man, yeah, I didn't have my scribes. Ooh, we'll have to say become a scribe or something like that, and find as many Book of Wappel sayings as you can in each of either the VODs or the YouTube videos. Yes, Book of Wappel scribes. That's got to be a thing too. That has to be a thing. But it would, yeah, there was just a couple of really good ones. No Way. Oh, very cool. So, No Way, thank you again so much. Let's see. So you end up... oh, yeah. We definitely paint all the details because, well, we were just... this is our newest army painting series right here on the Sisters. We were doing some freehand. Where's my other one that I was just... where did you go? Aha. So we were just doing this one earlier this morning. This was done entirely in oils, all in one sitting right here. Actually, tiny details are way easier in oils because these little no good 1 hair 000 brushes that are useless for acrylics, they become amazing tiny pinpoint detail brushes for oils. It's actually easier to paint details in oils, just like right here. Uh-oh, Angryham heard something about a book. Yes, the Scribes of Wappel. Oh, there's value in it. That's right. This is the thing, is that film noir, there's value in it. Yeah, that was a great, I love that one. Oh, and it's Spectrum in the house. How are you doing? Let's do some stuff with our Book of Wappel. I think we'll start at the beginning. Chapter 1, verse 1. If a color goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. And now look at this. I am the Lord your craft brush. You shall not put sable brushes before me. We obeyed. We obeyed. Now we're going to get into some of the more recent. The scribes have said, oh, look at this. Any brush can be a blending brush. Fewer lines, more shapes. What does that mean? Especially with oils, it means put blocks of color down and blend those. Let's see, yes. Disciples, scribes, and other ecclesiarchy lingo. And I think there should be initiation rites, especially if someone does gratuitous brush strokes. I do believe they should get the lash. Yes, 50 lashes per gratuitous brush stroke. And there are no mistakes in oils, only makeup sponges. Oh, and look at this. Blessed be us oil painters, for they shall inherit all the wet blending. Yes, indeed. Yes, the initiates, they will just wear, they'll just wear paper towels because they can use those to wipe the paint off their brushes. And that's all they're going to wear. And they will just, yes, that's what they'll have. That's what the initiates are going to have to do. Now, this is some of that nouveau approach here. So I'm just kind of grinding the paint away from that brush, and you can see how little paint there is on the brush itself. You're thinking, wow, that's just going to look like a dry brush. Well, not so, because we got tons of paint already on here. So we're literally just using the paint that's already there. Look at this. It's barely painting my hairy arm. We take it over here. That's a whole different ball of wax over here. This is how I'm cutting down on the amount of paint. Actually, there was a Book of Wappel phrase about cutting down on the paint. It was something about less paint,
Hello,
something whatever.
Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, No Way. It is appreciated. So again, it's happy time with oils. It's happy time with oils. I think we should just call it that too. You know what? Let's not shortchange ourselves on our little bit of green over here. Is it gonna look like green on here? Not necessarily. It's just gonna look like another type of gray. But you can see how there's barely any of it on the brush. And what have we been talking about for a while? Oh, look at this. We got Cosplaying Kitten. Yeah, you just walked into, we were talking about the different initiation rites for being in the Church of Wappel. Because we're going to have scribes and acolytes and initiates. And we have to figure out what's an appropriate initiation rite. And then we also talked about, well, gratuitous brushstrokes brings the lash. I mean, of course, you can flagellate yourself if you find yourself doing extra brushstrokes. That's up to you and what you like. Of course, you know, everybody's tastes are different. Or you can have someone else do that for you. But yes, gratuitous brushstrokes deserve the lash. Indeed. So just like we did on this horsey here. But folks, be sure to give Cosplaying Kitten a follow and Nessie, because now I came in here about the lashes. And Nessie calls dibs on Bounty. It's the quicker picker-upper, right? Or did they still use that phrase, or is that just too old? Is that just too old of a phrase now? Unless maybe they use something else, or maybe they're still using that phrase. Let me see. definitely initiates. Yeah, well, we're definitely forming a cult. Well, I think the cult may have already been formed. I think the cult of the one true brush has already been formed. Actually, you know what I need to do is get one of those laser engraving things now. And this could just be called the one true brush. I think that has to be done also. I don't know how much are those things. I'm guessing, well, if it's anything like an Elegoo Mars, probably between $200 and $300 or something like that. We might just have to do that. Of course, as DiMarino enters, we might be setting some things on fire, trying to laser etch this. So there might be some materials that aren't too good for laser etching. I don't know. But it is the one true brush. How could the one true brush not be good for laser etching? It's great for everything else. Interested in your cult, and I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. Well, now just be sure to always drink the Kool-Aid when it's placed in front of you. Drink it all up. Drink all the Kool-Aid. Yes, that's for sure. Drink your juice. You'll feel much better in another life that usually takes place after your current life is over. But just be sure to drink all your juice. Now, let's see. Things tend to make a comeback after 20 years or so. Let's see. Need to make shirts or brushes for cult. Well, there is apparently, what is it, like with Twitch, you can have them make shirts for you. Like literally, you just say, "Here, look, make me shirts." I guess they don't hassle you over the image size or the image resolution, because that was always the biggest impediment for getting something like that made, was just the fact that I don't have anything that can make the the TIFF. Well, I can make a TIFF file. Look at, we're just lightning. Look how easy it is to get some sweet little blending in here. Let's see, a laser engraver. You can get cheap ones for 100 to 200-ish. Depends on the quality of the material. Occults definitely have to have both pets and mascots. Generally, well, Babbo kind of lays claim to all. Well, everything. He laid claim to every army. He laid pretty much claim to everything. Because Babbo, Mage Priest Babbo, was all powerful. Oh, let's see. No Way is asking about these. Now, these are actually from Dick Blick. Not from Dick Blick, sorry. These are from Hobby Lobby. So there's 12 in here. There's about $5.99. Obviously, it depends on sales tax where you live. I just get these online. I just go to the Hobby Lobby website and get them there. You can get other brushes, which is fun, because this set had 12s, 10s, 8s, and 6s in it. That was very fun. And the nice thing about these brushes is that once they start looking a little peaked, like, oh, this one here, what you can do is, see how I kind of shave this one down here, and now it's a stippling brush. It's a spatter brush. I use this for mud, all kinds of stuff. So the brushes are actually from Hobby Lobby. These brushes here, let me get them. So these right here, I think on Dick Blick, these are they're either $3.41 or $4.31 a piece. They are sable, and with the oils, they're fantastic. Oh, no problem, No Way. The thing is, with acrylic paint, they're horrible. Oh, actually, cosplaying kitten, you got to see this. Where'd she go? Here we go. Actually, I was channeling my inner cosplaying kitten when I was painting this one. Succubus Publishing, that's who did this. And the whole time I'm doing this, I literally felt like you were painting this the entire time, because this is literally you right here. I mean, it's like you're in miniature. And there was some other fun ones too. I mean, this here's another one from the same company here, and there is this one right here. And then we were working on... Oh, here's another one. This one, again, all from that same Succubus Publishing there. Oh, thanks. That was it was pretty well. Oh, here's another one. We were working on this one last night too. I think this one's called actually Florence Nightingale of all things. So that one was pretty fun. And again, this is another one from that same line that we were working on last night. Let's see, I've got to, let's see, for mud and the like, I like my cheap brush with the hog bristles. Yeah, that's, well, yeah, in some ways, this kind of, when you get that, those bristles chopped off, you can really do some amazing things with it. So what we're going to do is, in just a couple of seconds here, we're going to let him have a chance to do that thing like we put him in the proving drawer, right? We're just going to get a little bit of cerulean blue on him here. Little bit of cerulean blue. Going to take some of that yellow ochre. We're just going to pop some of that right here. And now we're going to leave him. I'm going to set him aside. We're going to go over here. We're not going to give him a white horsey because that's sort of a Theoden thing right there. Let's give him maybe a brown matter horsey. Let's do something like this. Maybe some... Either give him like one sock on one foot or something like that. Typically... I like doing the manes and tails a little bit darker instead of lighter, but maybe we'll do that on that. We don't necessarily... I kind of forget sometimes to give horses lighter manes and tails, because they do. It's not like all of the manes and tails are darker than the rest of the horse. Can't escape from me. I'm telling you, yeah, it was the whole time I was working on that thing, all I kept thinking is, boy... Who is this remind me of? And it took 2 seconds, like, yep, I know exactly who this reminds me of. I think we'll leave the rest of those go. So instead of maybe darker on the mane and tail, we'll go lighter, which means probably some of our...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you very much for the follow, Icky Page. And, well, Gandalf appreciates it, too. Hey, how appropriate is that? We're doing some Lord of the Rings figures, and we get Gandalf welcoming in some more little hobbitses. Let me see. Oh, you need the cat one. There is, again, go check out Succubus Publishing. Someone last night found the Kickstarter that they're doing. I already forgot what it is, but I think they've got a bunch more figures. And I do have the cat one prepped. I do have that one prepped. I don't know where I put it. It's somewhere. I'd like to see what you're going to do with the wings on that archer. I'm thinking it's, well, I mean, if I wanted to just go... This was one that I painted in oils, and you can see there's some greens in there. There's some blues, some yellows and reds. So we could go something like this, or maybe we go with some more exotic colors. Is there a Drax in the house? Hey, Drax. So, folks, be sure, give Drax a follow, too.
So say we all. So say we all.
Oh, Pigeon. Hey, wait a minute. We gotta get the dance going. Yes. He just got... Whoa. He just got third time until he musters the Rohirrim and chases him away. He's like, man, he never gets any of the goody bits. Pigeon asks if I name the horses that I paint. So far, well, let's see. We've named all of the Easterling horses. They all get basically the same name. Yeah. They all get the same name. They're just called Gondor Killers. All of my Easterling horses, they have the same name. They're all called Gondor Killers. And this was I think this was my first Lord of the Rings series. Either this one or Army of the Dead was. But man, I had fun with these guys. I'm going to have to add some more of these to my Easterling. Let's see. Spectrum tried to convert a small sable brush, but I started dipping it in minerals. It grew an afro. That's interesting. Magnarus, it's like magic working with the oils. I've tried to thin him down like your oils, but see, that's something that I've noticed here. And again, so we'll just do it right here. So we're taking a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and see how we're grinding that into the palette there. We'll do some more over here. Look at how little paint is actually on there. So that when we go on to here, all of a sudden, there's way less paint. Way less paint. Because if you just keep adding this, it's just going to get all watery and kind of nasty. It's, my goodness, when I was doing those, oh, you didn't get to see the last couple of Song of Ice and Fire streams, did you? The one with all the horsies? Oh my god, you will be just shocked at how fast those horsies went. And I mean shocked. I think we were painting 3 of them at once on a stream. Yeah, we were painting 3 of them all at the same time. And now we're going to start hitting the rest of our horsey here. But see how minimal the paint. Look how much paint we just took off there. Ah, we got Nixo in the house. We're going to have to definitely start a painting group. Well, let's see. I think you can technically still use Google Hangouts as long as you are not trying to record it or put it on YouTube, right? Yeah, there's Zoom, but Zoom seems to be not so fantabulous. Hopefully we could use something still like Google Hangouts. See, that's the thing is I used to paint on those palette sheets that were very non-absorbent. So this is what I've been using. It's the same parchment paper that I use on the wet palette. And it's just a piece of cardboard. I mean, seriously, it's just a box that I chopped up. You take your glue stick, like you got here, and you just kind of glue it onto here. And the nice thing is when you're done, you can just peel it right off. The glue just kind of dries here, not sticky anymore. It's pretty handy. Where do you go? Let's see, that's my experience as well. I love the way they look, but not successful yet. Don't use Zoom. See, Skype has been horrible here. I mean, like, extra horrible. That has been our most hated method for as long as there's been Skype. We just avoid that like the plague. Oh, look at this. Look who's in the house. And here's Lord Dave. I was using way too much paint. I will try the oils again. So Mr. Dave, and now we know who Lord Dave is. Look at how little paint is on this brush. Once again, I'm going to go like so. That is how much paint is on that brush. Which is wow, look at how we're getting paint on here. But remember that what were we calling that again? Preparation glaze? Yeah. Well, and during our preparation glaze, we were getting just enough paint on it. Look at this. You'd think it was a dry brush, but it's not because we're putting this over paint that is already wet. It's already wet. Look at that. Kind of fun. At least I think so. Let's see, Discord for... Oh, actually, you can do video stuff on Discord now. That's right, I did that once. That was back in like May or something. I had to do a conference with somebody, and we used Discord. That might be the way to go. Discord video might just be the way to go. How many do you think it goes to, Cosplaying Kitten? I mean, I'm sure if it just went to 8 or something, that would probably bring in everybody. Because, not everybody is on the same schedules and stuff. We'll just call it Cult of Wappel. Or Cult of the Brush. Maybe Cult of the Craft Brush. Next, though, that one, it worked really well. Actually, it worked way better than Skype. I had more control over my camera in that than I did in Skype. I was shocked. I didn't even know you could do that. But, oh my goodness, Skype has just been hideous. It has been so hideous. Let's see if we can't get ourselves some kind of greens in here. So this is sort of a... Now it's going to be a little bit more of an olive green. And we're just going to go a little bit of glazy on this here. Essentially painting by the spoonful. And that is, well, Dave, that is the most common thing that I see people doing. I'll watch them, especially now with Twitch. I can watch them paint. Yes, I'm watching you. I'm always watching you. But I'll see them putting, on average, somewhere between 3 to 7 times more paint than they actually have to put on the miniature. And I just kind of go, oh, this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. We'll just complete the rest of his robe here. And what the heck, let's give him a red shield, perhaps. Where's my red? That's not in there. It's over here. Well, that is what's left of my red. I'm going to have to pour out some new red here pretty soon. I'm almost out. I'm almost out of red. Let's see. Megan Hain had better luck with Discord than Skype, but they can't... I think they're all freaking buggy. Oh my gosh. It's critical not to use wireless plug-in. Well, we don't do wireless anything here. Yeah, that's... everything is always hardwired here. And we wouldn't even ponder not having everything hardwired. Let's see. Google was a bit blurry on my... Discord and Zoom worked fine. We're just kind of doing a glazy thing here. This is actually just a bit of an oil glaze right here. Why? Because I want this to get set up faster. So that's maybe, I want to say about 65, maybe 75% thinner. You can see that it's not so thin that we don't have paint sinking down into all the crevices doing the capillary action thing. It would have to be thinner for that. Now we're going to take a different step here. We're going to take some of our indigo. Now we're going to go a little bit more, oh, shall we say, traditional glaze here. At least traditional oil glaze. So we got a heaping amount of our thinner in there. And now this is where we're just going to touch it here. We'll do the same here. Let's go back. We'll get some more of a Payne's gray here. It is a fantastic bluish gray. And you can see we're just touching it here. That's all we're doing. Capillary action going to do its thing. Same over here. Do we hit? Yes, we do have some of the armor over here. But Dave, that is the most common thing that I'll see. And even here, see how much of that paint we're just taking away? We have so little paint on here. Control the amount of paint. Less is more. And more is way less. Hey, Brushcraft in the house. How are you doing? Are you going to be doing any more streams this weekend? No, let's go Terra Rosa instead here. But we'll let it mix with the green. Let's start thinking about what's going to happen here on his helmet. If we're going to give him a red shield, we'll make sure he has some gold on his helmet. Then we got to figure out what's the hair color going to be. Might just go dark with that. Let's see, have I used any liquid to accelerate the drying process? Yeah, I have not tried it. I do have some liquid sitting over here, but I did some studies on this. I did a lot of YouTube research, and I would maybe use this for 2D art, but for miniatures, I'm just not going to use this because it does tend to make things glossy. Now, they say it can also turn yellow over time. That I'm not really worried about. It's just I don't need to be dealing with more glossy. And that would be an extra pain that I don't need to deal with. So I think I'm going to leave the liquid off to the side and not bother with that because I need the extended drying time. And I've already cut down just the regular drying time so much with just the approach that it's not needed anymore. I mean, again, anybody else wants to use it, they can certainly give it a try. So the vegetation for the base is a couple of different sources. That's from Warlord, that particular tuft. That tuft is from Gamer's Grass. And we've got some of this right here. That is still... Yeah, that's still from Woodland Scenics. However, the newer stuff that you see me do all the time, and we'll get to that in just a second here. My new favorite source for this kind of ground cover type stuff is definitely Luke's APS, because oh my gosh, the variety that's available. And let's see, what's some of my favorites here? Let's dig some of these out. That's not the right shelf. Here it is. So look at some of these fabulous ground covers. These are from Luke's APS. I've been using these on my bases, on terrain. I think this is the Pine Forest ground cover. But look at some of these really fun ground covers here. There's about, I don't know, at least a dozen of them. There is at least a dozen. Now, the other stuff that you saw, that was from Woodland Scenics. They have about 10 different colors of flock, and that was a mixture of a few different colors of flock. And, of course, some of the Green Stuff World cut leaves. Let me see if I can get caught up on that. So Brushcraft might be doing a stream tomorrow, depending on how the weekend goes. Let's see, use Gelkid 1 to make the oils really nice for about an hour, and then they start to get sticky and glossy. That doesn't surprise me. Well, now I can tell you this. Oh, yeah, so the average thing, where did he go? Where did he go? He's over somewhere here. Oh, yeah, well, just the average thing. These are now typically dry in 12 hours, max. Sometimes after even 8 hours, they're almost not workable. But the way that I'm painting now, stuff should be dry in no more than, say, 12 to 14 hours. This one was probably dry within 11, I want to say. And this was done entirely in oils. Actually, this one's on the YouTube channel. Hey, look at this. We have lime in the house. Well, here. Okay, let's just compare these. So this one probably took, I want to say, a good 18-ish hours to dry completely. This one was more like 11 or 12. And this one was in May. And this one was I don't know, less than a week ago. Yeah, I think this was Monday. No, maybe this was last weekend. Yeah, this was last weekend. So basically 1 week ago, the painting had changed so much that this was dry in less than 12 hours. To the point where I actually could have put my varnish on it. Or my sealer, not varnish, sorry, my sealer. I think we are pretty much, I'm just going to scroll up here just to make sure I didn't miss any of the early ones. So I was a lot of, I think we're pretty much there. Yep, I think we are caught up now. Now we're going to set this one off to the side, right? Because we've done stuff with that. We're going to set him off to the side. We'll go back to our ring wraith here because we want to get maybe some rusty things and some other additional colors going on in his cloaks and such. Let's do some glazing type stuff here. We got Terra Rosa, which means we have something that we can use as a rust color. And we have a little bit of our yellow ochre, should we need that too. Just hit this. This is kind of our darker rust here. Let's get his armor. Let's get some of this. Important thing is, put it on there. Then you gotta leave it. You can't keep messing with it. If you do, that's what's gonna bring you into some serious hurtins. Now let's grab our. So this is the the amazing brush that was just so horrible for acrylics. Then you use it for oils, and it's like the most freaking amazing brush ever. Who would have thought? So this has some of that cerulean blue. Oh, I can bring up my brightness now. 1 minute. Not that bright. Let's see. Al Capone is the dry time due to the amount of paint. It's all of the above. It's the pre-thin paints, but it's also less paint on here. So let's say paint right out of the tube would take 3 days to dry. If it's already cut in half by using the thinner, well, you're down to a day and a half. So you're down to 30 hours from 72, or 36 hours from 72, or something like that, roughly. Now we're just, again, adding a little bit of that blue over here. Then we start scrubbing the paint away like we've been doing, like this. And if you're painting literally like this with your oil paint, that's not going to take long to dry, because I can tell you right now, some of this paint is already dry on the palette, and it's only been sitting there for about 45 minutes tops. Those are the keys to having your oil paints dry quicker, is just less paint in general, and also starting with thinner paint. You don't need as much as you do with acrylics. And when I paint with acrylics, it's very awkward now, because I keep trying to put oil paint amounts of acrylics on, and acrylics don't like less paint. They like more. They say put more of me on. You would think that every acrylic paint was a contrast paint. Like, put more of me on that miniature, please. You have to rebuy me again as soon as possible. And actually, that's the ironic thing, is you're going to be seeing a lot more of the contrast paints, because there was some questions last week about, okay, what is potentially, if you want to transition from acrylics to oils and you want to just get a flavor for the oils before you use them, but still be using acrylics, that method that I show you guys with the contrast paints, that's the closest thing. That is actually to get the idea of working with thin and semi-opaque oils. That stuff that I show you with the contrast paints, that is the quickest way for you, believe it or not, to be introduced to oils. Now this is that brown matter. I'll keep wanting to call it brown matter or alizarin, but it's not. So again, we have minimal amounts of that on the brush. What are we going to do? You say we just put that there on that fold, on the other side of that fold. Again, you can see there's less paint back in here. And it's interesting. I haven't been able to watch other people paint with the oils until now that they're using them on their streams. And now that I can watch other people, I go, oh, that's where they're running into problems. I see what the problem is now. Good to know. I didn't want to end up ruining a pre-mixed pot if it would cure inside of a bottle. Well, here we go. Here we go. Listen to this. You can't quite hear that there. I made this one over 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago. Look at that. It is still good. Let's put it out on the palette. Look at that. That is just fine after over 3 years sitting in that container. Let's see. Same bottle. It looks like all the companies are starting to go in that same direction. I think we're.
So say we all.
All Oh, Warmonger. Thank you so much. Here, let's do... Oh, look at this. He's going to get it. He's going to get that until he gets chased away by the Ring Wraith. And he's like, man, a hobbit's got to eat sometime. And let's see. What are we... Is the dry time due the amount? We covered that one. So the only thing that I did for Digital Gen Con was the Aces of Painting contest, which was yesterday. And I actually... Well, I was declared the winner of the Aces of Painting contest yesterday, which was interesting. I will show you what I had to paint. Now, keep in mind, we had 65 minutes, and during that 65 minutes, we were being harangued and harassed and interviewed, and all other kinds of mayhem was going on all at the same time.
So say we all. So say we all.
Oh, thank you, Loim. Thank you so much. It is appreciated. It's going to go, well, all of your subscriptions and everything else. Now, the last set of donations and subscriptions went to get some of the new Cobalt colors. The next batch is going towards these to get some more of it, because these have turned into some fantastic oil painting brushes. So we're going to stock up on these, like lots of these here, because who knows if they ever let us do classes again in person. Then I just want to have a stockpile. So 65 minutes, right? Let's show you what had to be painted in 65 minutes. So this is Marvel Crisis Protocol Thanos. Yeah, I think that's what he's called. So there was this. There was this. And
So
good
say
grief.
we all. So say we all.
Oh, thank Yesik. Thank you, Yesik, so much for the subscription. And then there was this. So all of these, that was painted in 65 minutes. With oils, of course. I mean, this is the cult of oils. Hashtag cult of oils. Let's see. But the paints are a good investment. And they gave me... Yes, I was wearing the air leotard the entire time. Now, somehow they were able to delete all the best camera views that I gave them. I don't know why. Oh, well, I see we got some hype train stuff going on. As we are going to add, look at this, even more. Sneak in just a bit more. Oh, thanks, Megan. Now here, let's have Wappel try and grab some of those. He's gonna go, man. Every time he gets over there, it disappears.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, Eminently Bored. Well, hopefully you will not be eminently bored by our Lord of the Rings figures. Now, just a quick programming note. At 8:45 or somewhere thereabouts tonight, I am supposed to be on the Rockies War Room podcast, and I will be painting some fun freehand on a Gates of Antares. Yeah, where the heck did I put that thing? Did I already lose that guy? It's around here somewhere. But I'll be painting up. Where did he go? It's around somewhere. I'll find it. I think it's an Algoran Speeder. That's what it's called. But I'll be painting actually like a wolf face on it. So you can, it's starting to get that hint of reddishness there. Kind of like what we've got in our cloak here. Oh, Nessine, he knows what we like. He knows we love Mordor here. Like hashtag more Mordor. Yes, let's get some of our... I want to get even more of that cerulean blue in there. Mixed with a touch of our indigo. And let's find some nice, rich, bluish darks in a couple of places here. Well, let's see. If I'm not painting, if I'm not painting, I'm editing videos. If I'm not painting, I'm editing or doing dishes or, well, sleeping. The one disappointment is I have not been able to have the bathroom installment for the painting studio yet, so that I can paint while, shall we say, relaxing. That I haven't figured out how to be able to paint miniatures and use the bathroom at the same time, but eventually I might figure that out. Think of how much you could get done if you could paint miniatures in the bathroom. I wouldn't advise assembling miniatures there because, well, you never want to lose your bits. Let's see, nobody's thinking of the working class orcs. I spent time last night explaining to him what the premise of the Infinity War was. Yeah, they were not too pleased when I held this guy up and they said, so what did you think of him? I said, well, I had to do a Google search because, well, I've never read a comic book in my life. So I had to do research on this, and it showed like all these crazy glowing things on his glove or whatever. They didn't like when I said that. They weren't super thrilled that I had no freaking clue what the heck he was. I had no idea what the heck he was. Some were more disappointed than others, I will say that for sure. Yeah, I was like, if it's a comic book thing, sorry. There's like Spider-Man and there's Batman, and they both wear like leotards or something like that, and they play crazy music that goes pow and bam and whatever, because that's what I saw of those on those old TV shows. Besides that, not so much. Oh, there we go. Kiwis has it. It's from Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now, actually, all kidding aside, if you go to the YouTube channel, I've got, what would you say, Nestor, 5 videos on that stuff. So we've got that Black Panther. So there's, again, YouTube on him. There is YouTube on her. There's, what's his name? Captain America. Is this Captain America? No, that's not him. Whoever this guy is, I think this was Ultron or something. So there's one on him. Where's the... Oh, wait a minute. I see the Captain America. He's way the heck back here. Yeah, I did one on him too. There we go. We're just getting some lighter coat. Now this is where... Okay. We've started to call things, there's dry thin and then there's wet thin, and now we're going more of the wet thin. We've been doing the dry thin paint. Now we're starting to thin this down the normal way. Or, well,
so say we all. So say we all.
Somewhat. No, well, look at this. We got Rough Rider minis gifting out the subs. Look at that. Look at this. Brushcraft now has a sub. Thank you so much. Let's see, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, that's right. That's right. I think the Captain Marvel one was the very first Marvel Crisis Protocol figure that I did. And I still have some more. Kathy would know best which ones that I've got, but I know I have Doc Ock. And then there's this one, whoever she is. I've got this one that I can work on too. Let's see, I'm saying this out loud, so I can't do it, but it's incredibly tempting to just feed you tons of comic book misinformation so I can annoy comic book fans. That would actually be... That would, as the evil cackle maybe indicates that, no, but I would be attacked. Heck, they get irritated enough when they hear that I don't read comic books and never have read one. That's enough to set some of them off. That is more than enough to set people off. Now, of course, and Kathy can vouch for this, I still have never read the Lord of the Rings books. I probably almost certainly never will, just because of time. I don't even have time to be listening to audiobooks or anything like that. So all of my knowledge of Middle-earth comes from documentary-style videos that are on YouTube. And they'll take information from the Silmarillion and Lost Tales and those different things, and they pretty much compile that into these anywhere between 5 to half hour or 5 to 30-minute videos. And it's actually been really helpful because I've learned more than enough about Middle-earth to be able to do some really interesting scenarios for Arnor, Ithilien, all kinds of fun scenarios for Osgiliath. Actually, it'd be really fun to do Kinstrife Osgiliath instead of just like Orc Invasion Osgiliath. Yesik is a man after my own heart. That's another reason why I can't listen to audiobooks. Just ask Kathy. What was that? The Art of War, right? The book about Alexander the Great that I basically used as a lullaby for like a year and a half straight. Let's see, I got the third book. I got too much of Rustle of Leaves, Wind in the Grass. I've seen the movies a lot, though. Yeah, the audiobooks, unfortunately, well, the problem is I'm either filming or streaming, and, well, for obvious reasons, I can't be listening to an audiobook while that's happening, so that pretty much wipes out any possibility of listening to audiobooks. Unfortunately. Yeah, I wish that I could. It wouldn't be horrible. But fortunately, because look at this, even here already, some of that glaze, it's kind of semi-drying. Just a little bit. Let's pop in some more of our lighter colors here. So let's say you've got the 9, you have the 9 ring wraiths. Think of what it would be like to do these in oils, because yes, we're getting some major differences in our colors here. Major difference in these colors, and it's been pretty easy peasy, right? Because we've just been chatting up a storm here, having some fun. Oh, and yes, we've also got another one of these guys that we're working on too. We're gonna get in here with a little less paint. Less is more. You can see our glazy stuff there. That's kind of looking a little bit more dry. Let's get some of our indigo into that green. It really pops some nice darks here in his cloak. Just because. Then I'm going to look at one of my acrylic, or one of my other oil guys here to see. So it looks like we just did some tans on the backpacks there. So let's do that. And we're just going to stroll right over here to our yellow ochre. Just hit that real quick. Bow, Terra Rosa. Sword. Ooh, Cobalt Blue. Let's play with some Cobalt Blue. Let me see. The audiobook version reader is a surprisingly good singer and makes the song stick in your head. Oh, is that the... let's see, what Rough Riders? I sit and watch them all the time while I'm painting. So there's a little bit of that Cobalt Blue. I just haven't had a chance to put in a container yet. It is... man, it is some fabulous stuff. Gonna get myself some just a new little container here. I don't need very much, but that's better. So a little bit of our white here, some of our Cobalt Blue, and that is just such a wonderful shade of blue. That's what we were messing around with last night. So here again, we're taking away as much of that as we can. Let's get into this sword here. Like you do, let's get the other side. A little bit of our cerulean for some sky blue. And on his armor as well. And yes, that is wet oils over wet oils. More of our cerulean blue here. Let's get the boss with some blue on it. Let's get his greaves with some blue on them too. Now let's see. The one is a surprisingly good singer. Soundtrack fantastic. Seeing these oil shenanigans makes me want my oils to arrive faster. Spectrum, actually, believe it or not, the oil paints do that kind of on their own, because check this out. Here, let's look what's already in there. We already got linseed oil. That's why this basically acts like a shampoo and conditioner for my brushes. It's just the act of that's why this one hair nasty brush all of a sudden becomes the most magical painting brush when it's combined with the oils, because that freaking linseed oil. It's the craziest darn thing. Here, let's get some of the excess off of that, and let's start to give him some real armor here. Now this is a bit more of the, shall we say, traditional thinning of the paint. So we're actually using some of our thinner in this. And look at that. Look at what that's starting to do already. But minimal amounts of paint, even now, still at a minimum. And there's our wonderful Cobalt Blue doing its thing. So see that nice little point that's on that brush? Good grief. And you can just this is still a VOD just from, what, a day or two ago. Trying to use this on this with the acrylics, it looked like I might as well have been painting with this makeup sponge. Which there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, look at this. Sky King in the house. How you doing? Let's see. Oh, I'll catch you later, Spectrum. Thanks for joining in. So Sky King, hopefully all is well in your realm. I got my Lord of the Rings figures going. We've got some Lord of the Rings here. We got our oils, which makes me happier than a halfling in a produce mart or at an all-you-can-eat buffet. That's it. I can go even. Let's bring in some more lights here. Trying to do the shinies. We want to do the shinies on these. Can just get rid of some of the excess there. The nice thing about oils is that your thumb palette really is truly a palette. It's sweet. Let's see. Sky King painted a GW Cave Troll, an old Cave Troll. And my Battle of Pelennor Fields showed up today. Wow, that is a special treat. Oh, and the Witch King that's in there. Guess what that's going to be painted with. You can bet that's going to be painted with oils, baby, for sure. All right, so let's play here with our smaller brush. So we've got that shield right there. Let's do some of this little freehandy type stuff on Mr. Shield there. So again, let's take our mostly destroyed one hair brush. Then the linseed oil gets to it, and look what happens. It just becomes this amazing thing. Nice little one hair brush that we can use. No, oh, Now this one has seen some real action, so you can see these do get worn down. These are an identical brush, but look at the difference in how much that one's been worn down. That's pretty hilarious, actually. That is quite hilarious. Okay. So let's get ourselves a little bit of a knotwork pattern on this. And yes, this is just wet oils over wet oils. It is thinned down, that's for sure. And we got to go over and under. So we're just going to get ourselves a little hint of the over, some of the under. And we have to keep thinning this down to keep that moving. Like so. Then we have to think, okay, where's that going to end over here? It looks like there's like a horse on one side and a dragon on the other. Rough Rider is still waiting for the oils. Oh, and Al Capone has to take off. Well, I'm glad we were able to, kind of give you a little bit of a inspirational thing there. But I wish you happy painting as always. I think we've got that just about spaced well enough. There we go. Let's get ourselves some kind of little bit of a detail on those faces. So it makes these just a little bit more interesting than, because I've seen these painted white ad nauseum, and why just paint them white when you can do so much more to those? Way more than just painting them white, even with oils. It took a while for me to get used to the wet oil on my hand. Well, see, I'm giving you a free hand. I'm painting a free hand right there. Now we've got the red shield going on here. Let's see if we can do something fun on that as well. Let's get ourselves a little bit of our, what is that? Not raw sienna, yellow ochre, sorry. Let's get us a little bit of yellow ochre work in here. Let's see what else we can add to this. Freehand, let's make it a little bit more liquid here so that we get some more flow. Do I want some extra knot work around the outside of that? I'm just kind of pondering what it is we want to do with that. I'm thinking maybe just a little bit extra knot work on the outside of that. Just to show we can do some fun, small things. Once again, we'll thin it down. We want an over here. Back to an under. And we also don't mind if it gets a little bit, shall we say, subdued by the wet oil underneath. If we don't like it, we can always wipe it away. Where's my darker red here? Always clean this up a little bit. Let me see, just paint the old GW Cave Troll. It's a Felonious Monk has to give up coffee. Well, what I'm just doing is taking both arms, I'm sticking them on the table. So this arm is locked in place. I'm making myself basically like a little bit of a tripod right here. So if you're wondering why the hand doesn't really tend to go anywhere, that is why. Can you see this? I think so. Same pattern that we were doing on the other side, but now it's just in different color.
Who enters my domain?
I'm sensing a raid. Who is raiding? Ah, it's Miniature's Den. Well, now that's interesting, because I think we might have done the raid earlier this morning. I could swear we did a raid earlier this morning. So let's welcome in our raiders, of course. And Miniature's Den, thank you so much for the raid. Let's see, we got Matthew. And, well, there's Megan, and let's see, Varby Jim. it's a swapsies. Yeah, we so hopefully you were having some good streams today, and hopefully you got a lot of things done. I was able to hear a little bit of yours earlier today, before I had to go to bed myself and try and get some sleep. So what we're doing, we are working with our oil paints today, just like we have been pretty much all week. And we were just showing that, yes, you can do a little bit of freehand with the oils. Doing good. Actually, I'm happy because I'm getting to paint some of my Lord of the Rings figures. So what we're doing is, so this one was actually painted in acrylic. This was on a YouTube video, and now we're kind of matching that here with the oils. Showing how you can get lots of fun, different colors, and make it look basically exactly the same, but in a fraction of the time. Okay. Well, the fun thing is that you can get back into oils with, well, just something like this. There's 10 of them in here on Amazon. This is around $28 thereabouts. Between that and a decent container of your thinner right here, and some of our spectacular craft brushes, which we use all the time, that can all be yours for the price of less than this. All that is yours for less than 5 contrast paints. So that kind of puts the illustration of it. Hey, look at this, Eki says that. No, Miniatures has to raid and run. Well, thanks again for the raid. It's appreciated. It is definitely appreciated. We're gonna, I think, catch some more of our lights here on Mr. Ring Wraith. And I'll show you some of the other things that we have done with oils. Now, these obviously, the colors here are going to be much more muted, but oils can do a whole lot more as far as brighter colors go. So this Creature Caster also painted in oils. Just last night, actually earlier today, we were painting this in oils. It's still completely wet. And then we can look at right here our little horsey unit. Yeah, let's move this out of the way so you can get to see some of the things that are possible in oils. Speaking of horsies. So this is actually a session that we did a week ago today. And then this was another subsequent session here. I think this was maybe on Monday. I think it was like a Wednesday, Thursday type of stream. We were trying out some new colors. Like this one, I was messing around with my indigo. And there's more that is... So this is actually the very first time I ever used oil paints. So this was back in the day. I figured I was doing a lot of bolt action stuff. This was I've liked that so much in the Winter Americans, I did an entire painting series and did my entire Soviet Army in oils, all 72 of them. But then you can do actually so much more with it. So again, there is that, I think that's the Butcher right there. This was also done in oils. This is from Mantic, also in oils. You can see how much brighter the colors are there. And then, of course, you've got this one, which is kind of the king of all of the bright oils. So this is half the size of a human head right here. This is from Blackheart Models. It's the Karakalila bust. That was the first time we tried our fluorescent paints. I wasn't doing object source lighting necessarily with that, but it was, we had our cerulean blue, phthalo greens. We were doing all kinds of fun stuff with that. Now this, also in oil paints, and it was all wet into wet. It was all one sitting. You can see we did our object source lighting. We were doing some freehand. We did our marble. We did plenty of non-metallic metals, all in oils. It's just, to me, it's such an easier way of getting things done. It's like you're just kind of sitting there in a lawn chair, painting away, having fun, as opposed to the acrylics, which just feels like work now. It really does just feel like work at this point. Let's see. That's not the size of your palette, it's how you blend it. Let's see. Serial Killer asked, do oils take a day or two to dry? At this point, I am down to less than, in some cases, less than 11 hours. Which, considering that the first ones I did took maybe a couple of days to dry, now the drying time is way down because we're also using much less paint. So I'm typically, here, let's just get a little bit of oil paints here. When I'm actually applying the paints, you see how dry that is? This is why they're not taking forever to dry. So what we're going to do is, since we've got some new folks in here, let's try a new horse here. Oh, thanks, Nixel. It does. Once you... Oh, look at this. We got Dr. Feedgood in the house, too. Yes, there was some finger painting involved. There was. That's not a joke. That's real. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning here on this guy. And what do we start calling this? Oh, preparation glaze. That's what we're calling this. Or prep glaze. For those that want a little less mischievous name for it. And we're going to cover this entire thing in pre-glaze, whatever. This is very much a thing I used to do when I was painting in 2D art on canvases. So this is how we get started here. This is how things begin. If again, James Wappel, YouTube, just search the oil painting, what would you say? What is that called? Playlist. Yeah, search the oil painting playlist. You will see dozens and dozens of videos there for oil painting. Now, we do have our makeup sponges handy, and those just very cheap makeup sponges from Amazon. Don't have to be expensive. You know what? I'm going to sneak in a little Terra Rosa here. This is another thing that I've been doing that I didn't used to do. You see how I'm changing this color just a bit as I move around the figure here? It's not all the same everywhere. In many ways, I do the exact same thing when I'm using acrylics. In fact, it's kind of almost exactly the same thing. I just don't get the same advantages as I might with oils. Okay. I think we have everything covered here. Makeup sponge. We are going to cut it into some smaller pieces, make it a little bit easier to manage here. Let's even cut up this one just so we got it. There we go. And away we go. And you can see how much of that comes away, but look what's left behind. And as you can see it's more brown up here and it's more blue down here. It's because we were using different colors for our little glaze. We keep going. We take this away It's not all going to be wiped away, but a good portion of it. Again, you can see a little bit, see how that Terra Rosa, how that influenced the color there. And once we've got this mostly taken away, I'll show you one that just has its primer, and we're talking Badger Stynylrez primer, as always. Very simple, nothing complicated. Badger Stynylrez. Oh, we got Warmonger in the house. Let's see, I know you did some videos where you tried using a darker primer to skip this step. I'm basically out of that color. The ebony flesh, as much as I love it, it's virtually gone. It is fantastic, actually. It's what I did on him, because again, I didn't have time to do this stage because I had to do all of this and that other stuff in 65 minutes. Where's my here he is. So you can see we've got a little bit of a difference there. It's not just about the color or the shading. Oh yeah, well they're definitely moisturize me, right? Wasn't that the thing from Doctor Who or whatever? Let's see. I knew I was trying to get Agent Meeple to work with makeup sponges on the small ones. Okay, what color do we want to do on this? What color do we want this horsey to be? Let's go with maybe something that's lighter. Now, watch what's happening here. Hear that sound? That's a whole bunch of the paint being scraped out of that brush because we don't need tons of paint in here. Why? Because we already have that glaze sitting there. Why do I need a ton more paint when I already have a bunch on there? See? Look at how little paint there is on that brush. Look what happens. My little pre-glaze starts to mix with it. Do the same on the other side here. And look at that. I still have a little bit of that pooled underneath. I can grab some of that, push that around. Let's grab a little bit more here. And a little bit more. But again, it's minimal amounts of paint. This is what keeps that drying time down. And this is what keeps you from getting just that muddy mess that I've heard people talk about that happens to them. Yeah, I'm going to just get a little Terra Rosa into this. Let's get a little warmth into this now. Just a little touch of warmth. This is the major benefit of the oils, is you can shift and change the color so easily. So easily, just so quickly. Complex blends are not really complex with the oils because they kind of just blend themselves. Make the paint do all the work for you instead of you having to do all the work for the paint. What was? Oh yeah, that's another thing from the Book of Wappel. Ask what your oils can do for you, not what you can do for your oils. Now, let's give him, let's say we want him to have some of those darker socks like you do. This is the other thing that happens too. So people they'll stick their brush in their cleaner and it gets all wet and everything. That's not what we're doing. This is how we're cleaning our brush, just with a paper towel. Literally just squeezing the paint out of it. We're not making that brush all wet. See how nice and dry that is? It's nice and dry. That means we can grab something like, I don't know, a little bit of this umber, a little bit of that indigo blue. Umber and indigo to give him some darker things going on with his legs here. Again, less paint, less is more. Do we want to give him I think this time we will go darker on his mane and his tail. So we'll do that here. And the other thing with the oils is you want to have multiple figures. That is why we've got this ring wraith that we've been working on. That's why we have ourselves another one of our Rohan figures to work on, and a third one here. We're constantly working on multiple things at once. Let me see. Oh, we got the Roy experience in the house. Murky Murka, can I ask what overhead camera you use? It's a C920. I think someone actually might have said it's a C920. Don't get the 933 or the 922. Those were just kind of disastrous. And oh, now this is the other nice thing. We haven't done this. We haven't done this yet, actually. Let's see. Let's see. What was the question that No Way had? Is the initial glaze straight from your diluted pots? It is. We're adding just a little bit to thin it down. Not quite as much as before. Oh, thanks, Loim. It's a hand model. Let me see. I gotta look up here 1 second here. Let's see. Your hands are looking moisturized. You could start into hand modeling. There we go. Let's see. How long will you need to wait to paint over it again? We're not waiting at all. This is all entirely one sitting. Just like this was all one sitting. And the miniature that we did last night, this is all one sitting. We're not waiting for the oils to dry or anything like that. We're just going to keep straight on ahead. So all of these figures, again, this one is on YouTube now. This was all painted in one sitting, not waiting for anything to dry. So hopefully that answers your question, Serial Killer. This is the other thing I like about the C920. So the palette camera, though, is still in color. So watch what we're doing. I'm taking some green here. We're actually a little bit of that cobalt blue, a little bit of the indigo here. Again, we're going drier with that paint, and we're going to give him. So it doesn't look any darker here, really, at all. However, when that color comes back, you're going to see a significant difference. Because we'll have some green in here. Okay, so we got the green going. Let's get a little bit of our. Oh, let's use some Terra Rosa for his hair. You'll barely see any of that showing up. Going to use a little bit of our. Again, almost keep wanting to call it raw sienna for some crazy reason here. Don't know why. The one sitting, aka one skill we don't have. Now I'm just going to get a touch of that Terra Rosa on here. Now let's go just a bit lighter over that. Again, we're taking as much of the paint out of there as we can. You can see how dry that is. That looks like a dry brush. It's not. That's seriously wet paint right there. But because of the gentleness of the brush stroke, it's letting us mix all of that nice wet pre-glaze that we did. Here, let's get some of this on his helmet now. A touch on his armor. A bit more here. Let's get some lights on his face too. Let's get some of this lighter green working. Again, scraping up as much of that as we can. Now look up at the chat in just a second here. Okay. Now we can bring back our, the Warmonger. I really love I love going film noir as we welcome in Gridlock Sis. So folks, be sure to follow Gridlock Sis. So you can see now the the difference that made, it didn't really look different shading wise. Why is this important? And we're going to go film noir again. So one of my latest painting videos that I did for the Patreon page was filmed like this. So this is from Dark Sword Miniatures. It's part of that pledge level. So take a look at what this looks like now. Imagine me painting this for about 35 minutes. And after 35 minutes, this is what happens. We bring back the color here. See the different types of contrast. Yeah, that's almost purple right there. You can see some tans in there. Look at his hat. Value-wise, that was the same, but the color is very different. This is color contrast. Look at that. It's almost got some yellows there. Starting to see some of that purple. Look at, there's almost like some greens in here. Hold it this way. Let's do our little color experience again. So now there's just value. And what did we say? There's value in this. There is value. Let's see. So Roy Experience is doing 2 1/8 scale figures at a time. Well, it's you do what if you can't do them all in one sitting, because hey, I mean, things happen, life happens, time happens, that sort of thing. You got to do things in the way you need to. It is for me too. If I had all the conventions and stuff that I normally do, it would be really tough for me to do the oils like this all the time. So that's why this year has been such a sea change. Now let's see if we can start to get some lighter colors in our greens here. Before we have to set this one aside, we're actually going to set this one aside, and we're going to go back to some of our previous ones here in just a second. I'm just going to find a little bit of lighter stuff here going on this shield before we hit any of that with some freehand. So this one, that's going to go off to the side. We're going to bring back this one now, and we're going to get some fresh yellow ochre out here, just cause we'll get some of our titanium white into that. Start to find some lighter colors in this. And again, less is more. Less is more. This is a rarity for me to make the mane and tail lighter than the rest of the horse. It just feels freaky. Let's get a little bit of I think we'll get a little bit of the tan color into his armor. Let's hit let's give him some kind of skin colors here too. At least just something lighter there instead of nothing. Got to figure out what's going to happen with the reins and such things. Toss a little bit of it's our Terra Rosa. Absolutely love that color. Now some color, this is the other thing that can be tricky about oils, is that not all colors are the same. Some are thicker than others. Some are way more potent than others. Now this color that I'm adding on here, I can do this because I set it aside just like I did that other one. You have to be willing to just kind of set these guys aside instead of kind of being the kid on the bike that just gets super excited because they're on a bike and their parents are chasing them down the street. Next thing you know, they crash into the mailbox and go flying over the handlebars. That can happen. Now, we just took a bigger brush here to use as a blending brush. Look at that. Look at that. See how that it not only blends things, but it even smooths out any brush strokes. Brush strokes just go away. And in here, I'm just going to change this completely because that was just getting to be too much. And I'm also going to let that blend into the other freehand here, even on the boss. So I'm just kind of stippling that, kind of ages that shield just a bit. This is the wonderful thing about oils. You can make those changes just so quickly. Here, let's get some lighter green now on this guy's cloak. I don't know, I think it's maybe been a half an hour or so since we last touched his cloak there. Let's see, in 35 minutes of chat, I would have applied primer. Well, now I don't know. The VOD, apparently from what I'm hearing, the VOD is pretty rough to watch, although you can watch it. It's on the Gen Con Twitch channel, I guess, from the Aces of Painting thing that I was doing last night. And I'll show you that in a bit. We've shown it a couple of times. I don't want to keep having people to see the same thing over and over. But what I had to paint in 65 minutes makes these things look so simple by comparison. Now the rains here, I'm just going to start with something that's darker first. So let's take, we got some olive green, mixing it with our indigo. And we're just going to get this looking darker to start with here. That's better. I need some separation from the rest of his fur, and that's helping. Using my thumb palette here. Oh, we got Grey Ghost and Groot. We got Groot, and I won't say garroted. Oh, look at this. Well, we are going to take a little step back in time. We're going to take a step back to about 2012, 2013, because Armored Wolf has so kindly brought up the tomb cities of Susenes. So how are you doing, Groot?
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun, John.
Yep, all of the, not him, all of the Rohan stuff that I've been doing, that is all part of the Pelennor Field starter box. So is all the Army of the Dead stuff, which you can see that too in just a bit. Where is our... Aha, here we go. So there is one of the Tomb City of Susenes. That's actually not all the miniatures that were part of the army. I think there was about 13 different tutorials that came out of this. You see the two big monsters way in the back there? Those were scratch sculpted. And I'll get more pictures of the Tomb Kings out here too. But this was the first army where I started using the fluorescent paints. So see that the skulls on the base, that was a video. Using fluorescent paints was another video. All of the horses, the blankets were sculpted. Those don't come like that. Those definitely don't come like that. And you can see the custom howdah that we made for that. And you can see all those different fluorescent paints that we used. These were all acrylics because this was back in about 2012. And now I've learned about the fluorescent oils. So, I mean, we can give you a bonus here. Now, I would have loved to have fluorescent paints when I was doing the Lizardman Army, because this came first. This is about 2008, 2009. Yeah, that was a long, long time ago. Now, let's see. Let's go to... so there's the rest of Rohan. And these are all, again, Pelennor Fields, Rohan. Now, this is one of my other Lord of the Rings painting series for the Patreon page. So right here, our Knights of Dol Amroth. And yes, we did a wee spot of freehand on those. So Army of the Dead, also from the Pelennor Fields box. And I think I've got about 3 of those videos on YouTube. It's also on my Patreon page there. And then, of course, our Morgul Knights. Our Morgul Knights working in oils. And if you want to see some other, again, these are some other horsies that we did in oils. I just, like I said, I love me some oils. They make everything so much easier. Let's see. Groot is not doing too bad. I decided to get a mini painted with blends for shadow transitioning. Oh, thanks. Now that is that just kind of pales in comparison because there's other armies the Russians, the Winter Americans. That was my latest army for bolt action. My Fallschirmjägers there, and my early war Germans. We did an entire British Desert Army, Winter Germans. There's our British Army. And is this my French here? Nope, that is one of my battle reports. There's my French Army, right there. And of course, we love our terrain. And there's our display board that we made for our Monte Cassino themed army. Let's see, what does Sky can? Let's see, who sells fluorescent oils? Oh, you're not going to be able to find them there, but you can find them at Marion Street. There you go. And these are huge 55 mil tubes, and it's $15, I believe, per thing. So this is actually cheap. Comparatively, this is cheap. At this size, yeah, that is not too bad. Oh, Sky King, I'm telling you, the invincible French. Hey, they made the German player quit after 3 games. He threw down his dice, he threw down everything, and he said, blank this, the French are too powerful, they can't be beaten, and he never played again. So that's why all of a sudden my French went away, and then I had to start playing early war Germans for Operation Barbarossa. So we're going to make our shield more towards the red here. Well, actually, their tanks made the German tanks look like a Kia Soul covered in tinfoil, because the Sharby 1, the Germans called it the Steel Colossus, and they called their anti-tank guns the Army door-knocking device. Let's see, a new line of French figures for 3D printing. That one, unfortunately, the first day of footage got corrupted for that, maybe because it was just such a long, like 11-hour stream or something like that, or 8-hour stream. The second day footage, I was able to recover that. So that was painting the other side of it. And at some point, I'll try and get that up on YouTube. But yeah, unfortunately, it was supposed to originally be about a 3-part series. But yeah, the first day's footage, whatever, that got zoinked, which doesn't surprise me. It happens from time to time. We're going to start working with some of maybe the gold too on his helmet there. Let's see, we got those darker. We need to make these darker. And we got Tutti Frutti. How are you doing? Yeah, that whole idea of spreading the tanks out was not a great plan at all, and giving them no air cover, less of a good plan, which is why the French in bolt action are very powerful, because, well, we believe in telephones. We don't make any of those same mistakes. Now, the one problem with the French tanks is the one-man turret. That's a brutal rule right there. That's rough. All you'd basically have to do is put 1 or 2 pins on those tanks, and that really minimizes their usage. I got a little bit of my yellow ochre in there. That was looking a little bit too much towards the cooler green. We're going to warm this up as we lighten it up. Now, of course, tanks that were not necessarily the greatest idea in the world either is all of the Soviet multi-turreted tanks. That's for sure. This was just done last week during Historicon. We're doing all kinds of fun weathering and snow on our vehicles here. Let's see, we're just watching and chilling. Yeah, actually, well, let's see. The reason this was delayed was because there was no way I could do a second stream within 14 hours, which technically was only a few hours after the stream before that because of the Aces of Painting thing that I was doing. Oh, and at 8:45 I have to do a podcast tonight. Well, like I said, I've got the second day's footage, which is really not that much different than the first. Actually, if anything, it's almost better than the first because, well, let's just put it this way. I learned a bunch myself from that first day, and I was able to apply those lessons on the second day. It's just there's only so much time for editing and rendering each day, and when that first set of footage got kind of zoinked on that it kind of got set to the back burner, unfortunately. But eventually it'll happen. Who knows? Maybe I just ask George for another one, and then I can just do some actual videos for it. And I'm fairly certain that George would not hate that idea. So hold out hope for that. That's a possibility. Let's see, where are they located? Is there an alternative to? Oh, okay. That I wouldn't know. I would just do some Google for fluorescent. That's how I found them. Was Googling fluorescent oils. I had no idea who. I was convinced that no one did it, and then I was Googling, and a couple other people did the Googles, and we found Marion Street and a few other ones. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's an awful lot of companies now that just, well, they're not shipping anything internationally anymore.
So say we all. So say we all.
Thank you so much for this. Oh, let's see. Oh, JJS, thank you so much. Let's see. Yep, I will definitely be trying to, like I said, see if I can get another one of those. And that was also the first time I used my larger camera setup. So there's so much that we've learned since then about pretty much everything. It would almost be easier to make a real video out of it.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Well, now there's somebody right after my heart right there. Roll 1 to explode. Because, well, nobody is more expert at rolling the ones than me. Kathy can attest to that. I am the ultimate expert at rolling ones. So thank you so much for the follow. Gandalf appreciates it too. Did I ever get this? Nope, I never did get that side. We'll get that side here. Just making those a little bit darker. Going to use my Terra Rosa here. Scabbard. Just one brush stroke and then pull it, move it around. That's all it takes. One brush stroke. Let's see what we can do here with our cadmium red and a little bit of our yellow ochre. Start to lighten that up a little bit. Oh, and it's a 2-month subscription, so we'll give him an extra. We'll give him an extra little Wappelius dance for 2 months. Thank you so much. Oh, is there anything else? Okay, I think we're all caught up chat-wise. Now here's another thing too. I'm just going to slap some paint on there. We're going to take ourselves one of our blending brushes. So see, there's just a nasty blob of paint right there. What are we going to do? We're going to take that blob. I'm going to move that blob around. Just like so. This is why oil paints, they are not like onions. They don't have layers. There's no base coat.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Mike Bravo. It is appreciated. Let's get some lighter stuff on the top of the shield here. Good enough. Now let's do a little bit of some of our glazing stuff here into his little bedroll and other extra gear here. It just has to be, doesn't have to be much, it just has to be darker, that's all. Maybe a little bit of our umber in that too. Just because, and this is not like a acrylic glaze. See, we're just kind of touching the brush here. That's all we're doing. We're just touching the brush there, letting the capillary action of the oils do its thing. Can even get a little bit darker here. And then we just gotta let that sit there. We have to let that sit there for a while. Now we can get ourselves some lighter sky colors here. So our cerulean blue mixed with some of our titanium white makes a very nice sky color. Let's see what we can do here for his helmet. Give him a bit of a horizon line. You can see it has to be broken up, like there's some trees there or whatever. We can only get so many brush strokes out of that before we have to go back here and we have to get some fresh paint. In this case, I'm going to grab a little bit of a cobalt blue here. And we're really going to try and give this some blue sky color up on the top of his helmet here. Let's go back to his sword. We haven't played with that in a while. Let's get a little bit of reflected light here on the underside of this sword. Keeping it nice and easy. Again. And now we'll start to add to that here. Blending brush. Make sure it's got no additional paint on it. And then we just push this around. Look at that. Nice easy blend there for your sword. Just makes it all so much easier. Can't get much easier than that. Let's see, Parm. Let's see, oil paints are not like onions. They're not. They don't have the layers. I guess what put that thought in my head was someone asked, so how do you base coat with oils? And I said, well, there's really not a base coat for the oils. You just kind of start blending with them. They're really, I mean, sort of, you got that pre-glaze sort of thing. That's kind of, I suppose that's sort of like a base coat, but not really. Let's get ourselves another one of these little jagged lines like we do. Isn't sort of like a horizon line almost there? Oh, thanks, Roll One. What was I looking for? What was the original thing that I was looking for that I just could not find? I think I was looking for Mustard the Rohirrim or something like that. I think that's what I was looking for. Or yeah, it was something along those lines. I couldn't find the one that I wanted, so that was the next best thing. That was the next best thing. So this is another one that I've got to actually refill my container. So I'm just gonna kind of go straight out of the tube, but you can see how much we are going to thin this down. Thinning that down. Let's go a little bit of gold on this. I don't roll too many ones. I do use a lot of plasma though. Wow, that was I had to kind of give up on the plasma anything because I would not only roll the one to miss, but I would definitely roll the one for the gets hot. You know that. Now I keep wanting to keep watching, but have to go to catch a hockey game. Well, it'll be a VOD for a while, but then I try and get as many of these up on YouTube as I can. So hopefully this will be for sure up on YouTube at some point for you. But thanks for stopping in and watching. And hopefully the game goes in the direction you want it to. So we're going to get just a touch of... You can see that helmet now. That starts to just out of nowhere. All of a sudden... from nothing to something. It happens fast. And Rough Rider Minis has to head off to bed. Can't do another 4 a.m. bedtime. Yes, I can fully understand that. Thanks again for hanging out and watching, though. I'll catch you on the next one. We'll get our light right in here, and then we'll just, now that we've got our darker shading in there, a couple of lights are going to really make a big difference there. We're going to need to give him some eyes here too pretty soon. Let's just get, that's a little faceplate over his schnoz right there. And fortunately, since we've already got a little bit of our darker skin tone there, we can lighten that up by adding this kind of yellowish white. Let's get the other eye going there. That might do a little bit of my Terra Rosa mixed with our brown matter here. Let's get that strap looking a little bit different than our metal color. Same here. Give him some different colored pants. Get a little bit of my Terra Rosa even into that green. Let's reinforce some darks here. Let's see. Kathy has been liking the peanut brittle. I'll tell you that. She has been liking that peanut brittle. She may go into withdrawal when that stuff goes away. I mean, she might have, like, if you see her have the shakes or something like that on her stream, that's because there's no more peanut brittle. I'm going to get, this is that Cobalt Blue here. And this, now we reached the point where we can start to do some of that more detailed stuff. It's not all just doing the rough and nasty stuff or just slapping paint all over it. That's kind of your setup thing. Then you can start to enjoy a little bit more, shall we say, maybe the more traditional type of miniature painting here. What does Dr. Feedgood say? I know you often finish minis in one setting, but I seldom do. When you let things sit a few days or a week, do you ever finish them with a different method? So here you go. This is a classic example right here because I had no choice. I had no choice at all. So this one, I painted, I want to say about 60% of this in oils on that July 4th stream, but when the fireworks got too loud and I had to stop, I let this dry, and I'll show you. I just hit it with the same Army Painter Anti-Shine that I use all the time. But see his cloak? See how the skulls, basically every single skull and his horns, most of that was actually painted in acrylics. Once the paint is dry, it's dry. It is totally dry. So right here, this is the only thing that I ever use from Army Painter is the Anti-Shine. I just brush this stuff on. Once it dries, I mean, I used it on this. Yeah. Once it dries, I just hit it with the Anti-Shine, and I was glazing over it. No problems whatsoever. I just want to make sure. I think I've got everything caught. All right, I think I got everything caught up there. So we're getting some of our reflected stuff in here. We need, let's do our little bit of a highlight here on the other side of his face guard there, like that. I think that one is pretty well set. Here, let's get the edge of his sword here. And again, it's going to be sort of semi-complete there. We'll hit this. Now we need some first we're going to go dark, and then we will go light. So we're just going to hit this with some dark. Got the pommel of that sword. I don't know. There is no armor. I'm going to say there is new armor there. I'm going to say nope. I'm telling you, Loim, that anti-shine, I don't even know how the heck we found it. Well, I think it's because I was getting frustrated with every freaking other... The Vallejos, all of them started out like Elmer's glue, and they would never dry totally clear. The only one that ever dried clear was the anti-shine from Army Painter. The one hard lesson that I learned with that stuff is that you want to apply it as minimal as possible. Because, oh my goodness, if you slap that stuff on, it will get shiny. So that was the hard lesson I had to learn with that. So see, now we can get our main entail that much lighter. We got to figure out what's going on with the little whatchamacallit on the horse's head, the little armor plating here, and these can be a little dicey. The Lord of the Rings figures, they're not exactly the most super detailed figures in the world. And yes, this is part of the Pelennor Fields box, but it is the old kit. It's the same old stuff from when the Two Towers movie came out. Different packaging, same stuff. And I'm going to get some of my lights in it, and then we will probably do some kind of glazing over the top of this. There, nice in there. What do we want to do on the boss here? We've got to get some blending of that. This is the nice thing. Again, you can go back and blend later. And every brush can be a blending brush. Let's take these two lines here. They're just two lines. Remember, we want shapes, not lines. So see, we just kind of smooth those out. Let's get another dark here on the top of his helmet right here. Boom. There. I'm thinking another dark here. Oh, this side definitely needs some dark there. We have plenty of light. We're kind of short on some darks here. We do have some middle tones, but again, not enough in the way of darks. We're also going to start to add maybe a little more dark over here onto the horse, of course. Got to figure out what we're going to do on his hooves here. Can't just leave them all be dark. I think we'll freehand a little bit of a horseshoe on him here. It's always fun to do that. It's not exactly difficult. Nothing earth-shattering about that. I know we did do some freehandy type stuff on the cloaks of some of the other ones, so let's just do that. Especially if it's supposed to be some kind of Royal Guard dude here. Let's see what we can do freehand-wise on this. And again, it's all just wet oils. Over wet oils. No big deal. Could be as simple as just a line like that. And look, we got Lady B in the house. Now, there was a new emote approved. It's just the Book of Wappel, but that was, I got the news the other day that emote is approved. So it should be available for folks. I still don't really have any clue on how those things actually work, so I can only tell you so much. I can just tell you that it said that emote was approved. I don't know what it was approved for, or who can have access to it. I just make these things. That's all I do. I would like a little reflected light on this down here. Yeah. And we're going to blend it with what's already here. Also going to get some reflected light back there. We need some more sky color into this too. That's going to be right here. Again, thinking a horizon line right there. Might even get a little couple of these highlights into his hair. So put him out there with that brush, and then we're going to grab ourselves another brush to just sort of tone those down. See that? Tone those down. Let's do a little bit of brush stroke management here on our green. This is the part you got to wait for, though. You can't just keep, piling into this and not give it that all-important time to just kind of sit there and set up. I always refer to it as like bread in the proving drawer. Some setup time. Now we're getting one of our super little one-hair type brushes going. We got some buckles that need to happen here. Maybe even do a little gentle highlighting on the side of some of these. These reins. I'm trying to almost give that more of the black leather look there instead of always just the brown leather. I think that one worked out okay. Over here we got to do the same thing. Again, using our little one-hair brushes. That's all that's pretty much left of them at this point. Is just the one hair. Get these reins working here. Now I think we had done some, now that I think about it, I think those have been done in some kind of more of a gold-ish type color. So maybe we'll do a glaze there. Oh, look at this. We got Robosh in the house. How are you doing? Darker glaze here. Darker glaze. That might be too much of that red. If I take just a touch of my... Now I am kind of making a raw sienna out of it right here, which is kind of funny. And we're just putting this little glaze right over the top. It is not... It's changing the color. It's not necessarily making it any darker. It's just changing what the color is. Now I'm going to grab this one here. You can see how there's pinks and turquoise, all kinds of different colors here. And the horse's fur, instead of just white or gray, we want to do a similar thing on this one too, which is why we're going to start to grab some other colors here. Oh, thank you, Dr. Feedgood. We'll give you a little bit of a Pelleas dance. Boom, he's going to catch that one. Wow, they're just flying around all over the place until Erkenbrand's Royal Guard chases him away. And he says, man, nothing for a hobbit. Oh, look at this. We got Zambies. I'm sure, like everybody here is already following Zambies, but if you've lived on a different planet for several years and you're not already following Zambies, be sure to do that. You'll be happy that you did. Minimal oil paint, right? Look at how little paint is on there. Why? Because when this brush hits this thing, see look what that just did. See how it just tinted that towards green? Minimal amounts of paint. Let's do it on the other side here. Now look at how much of the red, look at that. Look at how much of that reddish paint we picked up. Look at the other side. See, there's none of that over here. If we want to continue adding this sort of a greenish tone, we got to go back. We got to get some fresh paint. See what just happened right there? Look at what we just did. We just changed that. It's, I guess in some ways when people are doing acrylics, they'll do like a glaze or something with the oils. You don't necessarily have to do it. You can just do what I just did. But look at how much of that reddish brown it just picked up in there. it's pretty wild how you can do all of the neat blending stuff, but you just have to be aware constantly of what's on your brush. And the new obsession we have with constantly just less paint. It's the other advantage of the oils, and I like to call this just blind blending here. I can't see what's going on. I can't see what's happening down here. I don't have to, because the oils just basically blend themselves. This is another sneaky time-saving thing with the oils, because I can paint with, look at this. I even have foliage on this base. Now, you're saying, well, why the heck is there foliage on the base? You never do that. Well, this was part of a basing video that I did for the Patreon page, and I just wanted to show these new, again, Gamer's Grass, Warlord. I wanted to show off some of the new tufts, which meant, well, I had to kind of accelerate the process a little bit. But I knew I was going to be painting these with oils, so I was not concerned. Now we've got...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
We got Deep Fried Alex in the house. Thank you so much for the follow. Gandalf also appreciates it. Now let's get a little bit lighter now. Weren't we? Oh, we were thinking about giving them maybe one of those lighter, one of those little socks or something like that. Let's see what we can do here. We're gonna grab some of our white. We'll just give them a sock. You can see we put that paint on there. Now what are we going to do? We're going to get this paint out of the brush. This brush now becomes a blending brush. It's not a painting brush anymore. It's just a blending brush. And now we're going to blend this like you do. Move that paint around, constantly getting rid of the extra paint. See, look at that. That is all, instead of layers and layers of acrylic paint, it just was like boom. It just happened. I didn't have to screw around with all kinds of layers and this and that and the other. It just kind of happened by itself. Deadbeat Artist is back. Yeah, well, you know, horses need socks. Well, they got shoes. I mean, if they're wearing shoes, they better have socks. I mean, they're not barbarian hordes here. They wear socks with their shoes. And of course, they're just since they're from Chicago, they are wearing white socks. And why do we say that? Because even Wappelius Spellbrush, I don't know if you can see that there in the freehand. See those 1919 White Sox logos that are kind of stuck into that freehand there? Yeah, we did that. We snuck that in there. So once again, we're going to take our, let's see, we have a sock on this foot. Let's put a sock on this foot. I can just put the paint there. I got to go back. I got to get more. Got to go back and get more. I can position it here. Then we take all that extra paint, we wipe that away. Now this shifts into a blending brush. Well, they're cultured horses. These horses are not wearing Crocs or something like that. They wear their socks. They know much is expected of them. There's a certain level of etiquette from the horses. Of course, when I start working on my done lendings, well then, that could be a very different, I don't know if the done lending horses are going to have socks. I don't think so. Well, you know me, I like to have opposing forces for everything. And we'll show the Harad too. So this is, as we let that kind of set. So we got socks here. We can even go a little bit lighter in some. Look at how much lighter we can go there with those socks. Again, we got that paint sitting there. What are we going to do with it? We are going to take that and we are going to push that and blend it. This is why we don't have to deal with layers of paint, just getting bogged down, slowed down by layers and layers of paint. Because I have to say, I would have really loved to have the oils for when I was working on my Easterlings. With all this stuff, all these horsies, they would have been way easier in oils. Oh my goodness. And the metals and stuff, the non-metallic metals, I would love doing these in oils. I guess, I don't know, maybe at some point I just try and snag some more Easterlings. Actually, I could, because those are my Dragon Knights, and I could just do some Easterlings that are not Dragon Knights and just have the regular kind of standard Easterlings. Now this has a little bit more of the orange in it. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Has to be on the subtle side of things. Gotta decide, do I make his nose lighter, darker? I don't know, I tend to always make the horse's muzzles darker. Maybe we'll make this one, we'll go different on this one, we'll go lighter. That could be interesting. Haven't done that in a long time. Let's see. Ring Wraith horses wear black dress socks. They sort of do. Yeah, I think they sort of do. We'll go back to this guy, too. We won't forget about him. Snag them soon, as I just ordered. 1919, the black socks, baby. That was all just a hoax. That was all just a hoax. All spread by Cubs fans to deny the White Sox another 3 to 5 championships. Now, yeah, look at this. See what we can do here. We just, now we have that green. Now, look at this. So it's not just a value difference, it's a color difference, which means it's perfect. It's perfect for film noir. Now you don't see that green over here. You don't see any of the greens or the more yellow type colors. We don't see any of that going on. No difference in his shield. But when we bring back the color, you'll see that hint of green in there. There we go. So this has, it's got to either lighter, darker, or something. Something's got to happen here. That's just kind of flat. There's not much going on. And I'm just going to throw a dot of color here, a dot of color there, a dot there, a stripe there. You say, oh my goodness, what just happened? What is that? What did you just do? Well, I'm just turn that same brush into a blending brush here. We're going to take those big nasty splotches of color, and look what's going to happen to those. That just got, look at that. It looked just like this a second ago. Get some of that extra paint out of the brush. I'll turn it so you can see.
Little hobbits, spark my ganja.
Was this tougher than toast? Oh, it's tougher toast. Thank you so much for the follow. Geez, I thought you had already followed. I think you actually already did, but Twitch does the unfollow thing all the time. That's not fake news. That's real. I have no idea why. So look at that. That's nice and soft. So we got this one here. We got to do the same thing to this. I'm just going to take the edge of that and we smooth it out. We got this over here. We got to do the same thing. Take our lighter color there. We just set it down. We clean our brush. And that, by cleaning, I mean wipe off the brush. Because if I dip that into here, that's not going to work so well. Because it's just going to get all juicy, and we're just going to literally wipe away our paints. That's the other thing that I see happening to people all the time, is that they keep putting their brush in the thinner or the cleaner or whatever, and it just leads to issues. You want to keep your brush out of that stuff as much as possible. This is why in art school, we all had just piles and piles of paint rags like this. Nobody used turpentine. We just wiped our brushes on these rags. If we have a trash in the house, hey there. Let's see, that was real film noir. A guy in a 54 Studebaker would have draw looking for smack. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's Steiner Miniatures, folks. Give Steiner Miniatures a follow too. Hopefully the day has been treating you well, and hopefully, even if it hasn't been on stream, you've been making progress on the Orc Trike with all of its wondrous chipping goodness. Let's see. Felonius has to head off to bed because it's 1 a.m. there. And yes, thanks again, Felonius. I appreciate all the support and having you in the house here. It was fun. And of course, well, earlier today as well. But thank you again for hanging out and keeping me company. It is appreciated. So that is why. Now remember, not long ago, this is what he looked like. And you can see we start to add all those refinements. As we add all those refinements in, it starts to look a little bit more like what you think it should. You know what we haven't really done? Take some of this cadmium red here. Instead of it always being more towards the yellow, that's almost got more of a pinkish tune. Get some of that down here. Maybe over here too. And I'm going to see if I can't perhaps do a little kind of a different freehand line. I didn't like the pattern that was emerging before. Let's see if we can do a different pattern on this now. Instead of just a flat red shield there. Not quite sure what we want to have happen with this, but we'll do something. Now that's the thing about the oils. If you're going to do the freehand stuff, you have to constantly go back and get some fresh colors. Gotta go back, get some fresh paint. And this is all just wet over wet with the oils here. Not quite sure. I want to continue with the triangles here. Let's see if we can do just a triangle right down here. Or a diamond shape or whatever. Keeping that thin down. There we are. I think that looks a little bit more snazzy. Because again, normally what do you see? You just see these things painted white. And that's it. No real structure. No real freehand or anything like that. This to me looks a little bit more regal. A little bit more Royal Guard-like. And maybe we can even put something different inside the triangles here, are the diamond shapes. Maybe even give these horsies up here some eyes. And again, it's all wet oils over wet oils. You can do it. Yes, you can. And we got Bill Robertson in the house too, and Trash says that he can't paint straight lines like that. Oh, I like the sacrifice the elf for the greater good. Let's see, there'll be one or two different tartans on there. Oh, that's yeah, Kathy. Maybe she's got her Peladrio going on with all of the fun little taters and toys. So now we can enhance this freehand. It's had quite a while. Set up nicely. Let's hit this here. I'm gonna move that. Yes, that line has to be changed around. Do I have enough? Nope, I don't have enough of my sky blue there, which means I'm gonna go grab me some more cobalt blue. That's better. Let's hit that with some more sky stuff, and then we'll just shoot one of our little highlights onto that, I think. Like that, sort of like a gemstone. Not quite a gemstone. Let's make sure that this kind of wraps around here, this horizon line. Otherwise, that's not going to look terribly round. We also need a little bit more of our reflected light down there. Okay, that's got more of a shiny look to it. So does this. These guys, they either need some kind of highlight along the edge or some more color inside the actual little bit of armor there. Start off with let's throw a little bit of light on the edges of these. Let's see, Trash asked, do we ever name them? Like, gonna paint Bob today, tomorrow we paint Roy. Well, again, and we showed this for the Easterlings, and it's the same thing for my Candish forces. I'll just grab my box right here. So, let's see, this one is I killed Faramir. This one is, let's see, I killed Boromir. This one is I killed Aragorn 3 times. That's their names. So, yeah, they do have names. And, of course, we just call him Mr. Hanky right there. Love me some Grima. Absolutely love my Grima there. Oh, you just stick him in a unit of Gondor and just let him cry into his hanky. And he just bums them all out. He makes them all really, really sad. And then they don't do very much because they're sad. Let's see, I had cake for breakfast the other day. That sounds like a very good idea. Let's see, bit intimidated still by the oil paints. Yeah, I have cake for breakfast. Boy, I wish I had cake for breakfast tomorrow. There will not be cake for breakfast. It's been too warm for... Oh, gee whiz. We showed this earlier. Speaking of elves, because someone mentioned elves. Here we go. So, here we go. So, speak friend and enter, right? This is from Green Stuff World here. So, since it was not as hot as it had been, I took the roller. Here's our little guides on it. We took our extra firm gray Sculpey, and this is what we came up with here. And there's, you got your, there we go. So you got your kind of typical GW style elven runes there, but, that is a unicorn. Okay, so a lion, a unicorn, but we got, a nice little tree thing here, but look at this. So I can use this for my Lumineth because, look, it's got Mr. Cowface on there. And, there's some nice tree things going on. So we're going to base our Lumineth on this. And this should be really, really fun here. Man, is it a birthday? It's birthday for Bill. Now, will this actually... Probably going to... it's not going to be too shiny. Okay, so Lady B. I think I was telling you about the... that was... I think that was somebody else I was telling about the Pabio stuff. Yeah, I think that was... might have been someone else. But that was actually painted on a ceramic tile, which was very nice to be able to do that. Let's get some of this... maybe even darker blue here. start to pick out some of our... Let's get some darks in here. We got lots of middle tones and lights. There's a nice little bit of extra blue in that. Maybe up here on the helmet. A little on the sword, and then here on some of these guys. We'll make those a touch darker as well. I'm looking at his hand. That needs some kind of lighter tone. We'll just get this Terra Rosa thing working here. Maybe like he's got a glove on or whatever. Good enough. You know what? We're going to do that over here too. Not everybody has to just have their bare hands. Go and just give him a glove. Just because. And we just gave that a little bit of... Look at that. I kind of like that. I'm going to double down on that here. Yeah. So look at this. Look at the contrast of the blue there, the yellow there. I betcha. Here, let's do a little film noir again. Let's do a little film noir. So yeah, there's a little bit of difference in value between those, but you certainly don't see the stark difference of the blue versus that. Yeah, look at the difference. Wow. Big difference between those two. Now we need we get some lighter colors on this bow. We haven't really done much with that. Done much with that. Let's see. Get these little straps on the backpack slash bedroll thing. Let's get some highlights here on his arm now. His beard, the beard, it almost kind of needs to be darker, but I don't want to do too much on that. We're going to grab some of our umber here. And I think that will, yeah, don't really want to get too much darker than that. I am going to add some darker umber up there. Can always clean up these lines too, if you feel like something got a little bit out of place. But that certainly looks just more dramatic there than it did. See what other little fun things we can do with our horse's face. We got some bridal type things going on over here, and I don't mean for marriage purposes. Why don't we snag a little of our cadmium yellow here, make a nice little lemon yellow. I am still tempted to maybe grab that oil paint color just for fun. It was one that I always wanted back in the day. I never did have lemon yellow to work with. I swear some of the oil stuff, it's like part nostalgia. Well, I know there's a lot of nostalgia to it. There's an awful lot of nostalgia to the oils. Oh, if I didn't catch your birthday on a Facebook little message there, a belated happy birthday from me too. I try to always make sure I catch those every day, because it's fun when it comes my turn and it's my birthday and all of those messages come in. It actually is nice to get those. It's kind of fun. Ah, okay, that was missing right there. Good to catch that. You know what? We'll give him... Let's go with some kind of something red here. Red-ish at least. Right there. Now on the tail here. Oh, we got Megan doing the cheer thing here. Let's get Wappelius to do his little happy dance. He's gonna grab that one, and he's gonna try and get over to this. And the horse says, "Nope, you can't have that. That's only for us horse lords." Let's see. When does the podcast start? I'm probably going to be let's see, 8:45 is when it starts, so I'm probably going to be jumping off here. We have been doing this almost 3 hours. I'm just going to see what sort of things we can finish up on this guy, and then we can jump off and kind of get ready for the podcast. Turn some things off, turn some other things on. Oh, that's it. Darker ears. I don't know why those are main colored. That should not be main colored. They should be ear colored. That makes a little more sense now. I'll go with some more lights over here. Let's give him a bit of an eye. And let's start to put some real color onto his armor here. And some highlights for that matter. Let's see. Time for ice cream. Oh, we do have that. We do have ice cream. I too want ice cream. That sounds really, really good. I'm gonna have to get me some more tomorrow, especially if it's not super hot. I'm definitely gonna have to get some more. Yeah, let's, do we need to? Yes, we need to do some stuff on these hooves. There's not a lot going on. We need something here. Even that is just better than nothing. And with the oils, it makes it so easy. It's just like a swipe there. That's all it takes. I think we'll use some of that greenish color on his shoes. So it's not quite so close to the same color as our horse. Of course. Might even do another highlight up here on his bridle there, reins, saddleblade. Oh, that's right, we were going to do just a touch of some kind of free-handy mischievous thing over here. Dum dum dum. Can you see this? Yes, you can. Neapolitan is in 3 flavors, or served by it's a little bit of both. It's one flavor each, served by a different short Frenchman. There's 3 Frenchmen, each with a different flavor. That's how it works. Starting to sound a little bit like a Christmas song. Something about 3 Frenchmen. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if you want 3 Frenchmen and 2 turtle doves. I don't know if those all work together. I'm going to take some of my red here. Oh, maybe a little less of the more of the red, shall we say. There. I mean, it's a little impression of something. Is it anything specific? Not terribly. But it does make them a little more distinct from just maybe your regular Rider of Rohan. Maybe makes them look a little more royal. Say Royal Rider of Rohan 10 times really fast. Because I know I can't do that right now. Don't have the brain power for something like that. Do I want? Yes, I want some red over here. Just for whatever reason, it seems like it needs it there. Or also, this scabbard here could use a touch of a highlight there. I mean, every brush is a blending brush. We just blended it with that. So I think we've got a little spot of freehand there. We got our spot of freehand over here. We need to get some of our still some more lighter colors over here on this. Some highlights on the armor and his bridle, just because Rocky Rohan. Let's see, do you guys have Turkey Hill ice cream? I don't think so. Let's see, they were on sale at the grocery. Oh, you know what? Actually, we can do that. What was in that? What was it called? The grocery thing from Amazon. What's that thing called? We'll be able to do that tomorrow. Because wasn't there was some? I don't think there was ice cream in that. Now, of course, there have been chocolate-covered raisins, much to the delight to some and to the sorrow of others. We will let the audience figure out who was delighted and who was sorrowful. And I do emphasize the sour part of it. Some of us were far more pleased than others to have that wonderful, tasty dessert. Let's pick up a little bit more of our lighter green here, shall we? Possibly right there. So now we got a little different green. We got yellowish green down here. You know what? I will put whatever that was over there. Let's see if we can't replicate that over here. A couple of quick lines. I mean, it's oils, right? We just jot down a quick little bit of freehand here. Why don't we? I mean, it's so difficult. I mean, look at how insanely difficult this is. I mean, this is like impossible. How can it be done? You can't do freehand with oils over wet oil paint. That's just strictly nonsense. That doesn't happen. Or does it? There we go. Yeah, that wasn't super hard now, was it? Things you say when working on Mini. Let's see, I was working down the street from the place that made frozen custard. You know what, let's get a darker separation between the armor and this as well. Where are we at here on the screen? Yeah, just it needed that. It's going to need one right here too. A couple more of these. That indigo, I don't want to say it's replaced our beloved Payne's Gray, but it has certainly taken away a wee bit of the spotlight from the Payne's Gray. It's definitely demanded its place in the sun. We'll get our darker tone here, and we'll also, we're going to use a little bit of our olive green there, sort of reinforce that idea of the tree line here. We also need to darken up the other side of this. So see, now all of a sudden our highlight color there just looks lighter by default. Like I said, you can keep adding you can add all the white that you want there, but until you get that darker color in, it's not going to make a difference. You can have all the lighter colors you want. Eventually, you've got to get some kind of a darker color in there. Let me see. Nessie just had some leftover birthday cake. Yeah, well, we will definitely, I think we'll be maybe looking for someone to raid here un momento so that we can get everything prepared for later, which is not that much later anymore. And we've made some nice progress here. Again, we started with our ring wraith here, and then we moved on to this one, and we got into about this stage, right? So then we worked on this one here, and remember, not long ago, everything just looked like this. So this is 2 hours, 54 minutes. Things going from From this to this to this with freehand designs. All the fun stuffs. Freehand designs on the shield.